Those people who have spent a lot of time on these televisions speaking about IEBC, from a political, economic, or legal perspective, we've discussed these things, but we will keep saying them. And one of the most important things we need to say is this, that every time you have an election in a democracy or in an environment that is supposed to be a democracy, after the election, there are those who will feel like the country has moved forward, and there are those who will feel like the country has made steps backwards. There are those who will not be happy with the results, and there are those who will be extremely elated with the results they get. That is the nature of democracy. Now, the building of a nation founded on democracy, and especially constitutional democracy, is a work in progress. You can never say at any point that we have arrived at the peak of our democracy. That would be a lie. And fortunately or unfortunately, the people who give birth to either a good democracy or a bad democracy are the entire multi-sectoral players in the political system. Politicians, the midwife in this case, for instance, for our case, IEBC, the voters, and so on and so forth, and the other institutions, either in the private sector or in government. For instance, I can give you a simple example that churches have now become a very important pillar, either against or for democracy. Okay? So having said that, this is what I will say with respect to the big question you asked, whether what is going on around now with respect to the IEBC will take this way or that form, and so on and so forth. This is what my view is, that you see, from 1992, except 2002, almost every presidential election has been highly contested. It even goes to court. It went to court in 1992, it went to court in 97, 2002 it didn't go to court, went to court in 2007, went to court in, in 2007 people refused to go to court, and you saw what happened. In 2013 it was in court, in 2017 it was in court, and I do agree with my colleagues here that this journey has given us very good exposure and learning and experience about how we should handle or we should not handle our elections. However, this constitution, this social construct that we have given ourselves, did not intend anyone to become a power unto themselves and to hold the country hostage for whatever reason because of the power they hold. I must say that the IEBC has done extremely well considering previous experiences in terms of running elections. But in this last election, there was a total breakdown in the corporate IEBC. And the question as to exactly what went wrong and who was to blame is still out there, as Americans would put it. There is a preponderance that once you take a side like we saw in the IEBC and your side wins, that we are happy to pat ourselves in the back and say you are the one who did well. That we might never know. What I know for sure is that constitutional commission called IEBC must start learning to work as a corporate body. And we did not see that at all in the last election. In fact, one of the biggest issues that went to the Supreme Court for determination was the question of interpretation of Article 138(3)(c), which asks the question, who in the commission should tally, verify, and announce results? Is it the commission or is it the chairman of the commission? Okay? And the court found that the chairman of the commission seemed to have sidelined the rest of the commissioners from the process of tallying and verification of results. That is on the court record. It's in the judgment. It's not my words. But however, the court said that nonetheless, this does not form a good basis for nullifying an election, because it doesn't show, the evidence produced in court did not show how that generally affected the result. Okay? Now, I come from the school of thought that in spite of the poise that the chairman and some commissioners have taken, I wouldn't be so quick to salute them with greatness like some people are doing. I think them, the 3 and the 4, still owe Kenyans a huge explanation as to how the IEBC got to that point, as a result of which it will forever remain that 4 commissioners were against the result and 3 commissioners were for it. Now, this is what I will say. Once that declaration has been made and it has gone to the courts and courts have validated it, now this is the point of my departure from some of my friends out there. Once that has happened, in my view, because I believe in processes, now I accept that that process has gone back, and now as a country we should move forward. We should now dedicate our time and resources in creating the IEBC that my colleague to the right was suggesting. An IEBC that is devoid of partisan political interest.
Okay.
Well, that is easier said than done. And the question I will ask, for all honesty, is we're just about to elect new commissioners. The question is this: do you think, Olive, that in this coming process of getting commissioners, do you think that His Excellency the President William Ruto will not have an interest in it? Do you think that the leaders of the opposition will keep quiet and wait until that process is done? If your answer is yes, that the Kenya Kwanza administration will keep totally out of it, they will not bother. They will just wait for the selection panel to give them whoever commissioners they give them, then I can tell you for sure we have arrived. But my crystal ball tells me one of the biggest fights we are going to have in the next few days is who sits in the selection panel to select IEBC commissioners, and then most importantly, what does that selection panel produce in terms of members of a commission? And from what we have learned, for instance, the chairman of the IEBC has a lot of power.
All right.
What if he was wrong? You know, what if he was wrong?
What
So
if
we
he was
should
wrong?
deal. So
Okay.
that inquiry he's talking about, that inquiry he was talking about, in my view, should also deal with the question: who is it that is likely to hold the country hostage? Should he be wrong and is insisting he wants to do it that way?